So the Majority Report, Sam Cedar and Michael Brooks, went after Dave Rubin for the clip that I had talked about twice when I talked about him originally saying it, and then Kyle Kalinske going after it. Now, there's also this really interesting clip in here, which is what we're going to talk about first, and then we'll come back to them talking about what Dave Rubin said with the Bernier guy. So they show a clip here. First off, they're going to talk about the GoFundMe, which I thought was funny, and then they're going to lead into Anna Kasparian and Cenk Uygur on the post-game going after Dave Rubin, and I think what they say is really interesting, and it's a question that I've been asking myself and I've been asking you guys, and so we'll kind of talk about that question here. But what you're going to see is Sam Cedar, they're going to throw a little joke in about saying how they're going to make a joke about it being juvenile, and obviously being the joke that, oh, we're going to do it anyways, because of the whole mess that I talked about yesterday with Tim Pool and all the other guys. So go ahead and check this out, and then we're going to come back and talk about it.
The other night that where they said, just almost randomly this came up. That's also juvenile. And let me show you how juvenile. It's like this juvenile. Yeah, exactly.
To some degree I have, and it's hard some days, but some degree of sympathy for Dave Rubin.
No, zero.
Yes,
because
Anna.
Look,
he knows.
But that's the thing. He knows. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, he knows he's sold out, and so, like, I feel like Ben Shapiro sleeps perfectly fine at night. He's like, oh, I'm doing a great thing. This is wonderful. I'm ideologically consistent, right? Whereas, like Dave Rubin, he knows.
Like, he keeps denying that he's a fraud. But like, everyone knows, people who watch your show and pretend like they like it, they know you're a fraud. You know, like the fact that he's so scared to have a conversation with Sam Cedar. It's my favorite thing in the world. I love watching it. Someone paid $100 in YouTube Super Chat, right, to ask Dave Rubin about Sam Cedar, like, why won't you debate him? And he purposely phrased the question to make it seem as though he's on Dave Rubin's side, like calling Sam Cedar an SJW. And so he's reading this comment out live. And then once he starts realizing that this is a question about debating Sam Cedar, he went, don't worry about those guys. Don't worry about those. Like, he's so afraid.
Precious. So, by the way, if you guys are new and you don't know, Dave used to work here. And then he went and like became a right-winger pretending to be a classic liberal, whatever the fuck that means, right? Paid, to some degree, large degree, by the Koch brothers foundations, etc. And it's a little revolting to look at. And we know for a fact that he goes and lies about his time here, right? Yeah. Why he left and what his experience was. We're like, what the fuck? That's not what happened at all, right?
Yeah.
But since we know for a fact that he knows that he's lying, that's what makes me think he's probably has a little trouble sleeping at night. But maybe I'm wrong about that.
Yeah, so remember I did a video about Cenk and Anna going after Dave Rubin sort of on separate occasions. But Dave Rubin had sent out this really weird tweet about this guy who was accused of white privilege when he was black. And he sent out this really weird tweet of saying like, oh, well, when I was on TYT, I heard the other hosts saying that you were, saying the same thing about you, but little did they know I knew you. And it's like, what the fuck, dude? Were you like a spy or something? Were you like that's such like a weird statement to make. I've never seen. You are literally on your own volition. You are admitting that you were just scamming them out of money, pretending to be a lefty, because what you're saying is you were just a spy. That's literally what you were doing. And so Cenk responded to that with like, oh, were you scamming us out of money or are you scamming them out of money? The answer is he's doing both. But he asks a good question there, and Cenk and Anna know more about Dave than any of us do, 100%, very obviously, right? I mean, obviously, Anna and Dave were really good friends, and Cenk was the one who gave Dave his job with the Rubin Report, the show on TYT. And so they know the truth about Dave Rubin. We all know the truth about Dave Rubin at this point, too. The guy's a money-hungry, loser, pretty much. He doesn't care about, any principles or morals or ethics. Those words don't exist in his vocabulary. Those things don't exist in the Rubin vocabulary. The Rubin dictionary does not have those words in there. And so there's a question, you know, I want you guys to answer in the comment section. Does Dave Rubin sleep at night, you know, or does he struggle because, you know, he knows he's a fraud? Because I know personally that if I were to ever even get close to going even in the direction that Dave Rubin is, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. I wouldn't be able to live with myself knowing what I'm doing, because I have genuine political beliefs. I'm not just, you know, doing whatever, because, you know, being a right-winger on YouTube is far more beneficial to that person than it is being a lefty. That's for sure. And so I wouldn't be able to live with myself because I have actual principles, I have ethics, etc., etc. And so there's no way that you could believe something like that and at the same time, you know, be able to sleep well at night, because you know that you're a fraud and you're lying to the people. You're basically scamming people. You're deceiving people. You're committing fraud, essentially, is what you're doing. So I want to know you guys' thoughts on that. By the way, I thought that the billboard thing was really hilarious. And I really enjoyed this dynamic now of where, you know, everybody is dunking on Dave Rubin. I thoroughly enjoy this. So we've had like Kyle just sending out tweets. He's made a couple videos in the past, but not recently at all. He doesn't really talk about him. But Anna has been going after him, and Michael's been going after him. Majority Report's been going after him. It's just unbelievably entertaining and hilarious because, and he blocks like literally everyone and their grandma on Twitter. And so if you want to get blocked by him, literally all you need to do is just go to one of his tweets when he tweets it out and just post the meme that I made about him, not, you know, the Just Do It meme. Just post that in the replies, and you will surefire be banned really quickly, because that really hurts him deep. You know, that really gets him deep. He's like, fuck, you know, he knows it's true, and that is the reason why it really cuts him deep, because he knows at the end of the day that is true, that yes, he doesn't actually believe in anything he's saying. He's just a fraud. And it's common knowledge at this point, so the idea of even trying to contest it would be hilariously stupid, because it's false. And like I said, man, Cenk and Anna know what they're talking about. They know Dave Rubin. They know his soul. They know him. They know the foundings of Dave Rubin. They know this guy. So that was that. Now, they also went after Dave Rubin for the really stupid comment that he made about defending ethno-nationalists. Check that out.
As a country, and we must be able to select our immigrants. And so that's coming from the UN. So yes, you're right. I don't like the UN. I think that they're not so efficient. And I'm clear about that.
Yeah, do you guys have a strain, you know, we're seeing in Europe now where there's nationalist parties, that there does seem to be a strain of sort of ethno-nationalism or something that has a different racial connotation to it. Do you guys have a strain of that in Canada? Because it seems to me that I think what's happening, and we're starting to see it here, is that if the good liberals and the good libertarians and the people who just want to live and let live, if they don't start making some advances against this radical leftism that's moving, there's going to be a lot of people that break in a bad way.
Yeah.
And in a weird way, I wouldn't be able to blame them.
Yeah.
And I say that as someone that has no racism in my heart.
Yeah.
But they would be left with no alternative as they watch their country crumble. Do you have any of that in Canada?
No, we don't, and it's a good news. But at the end, that's why we must have this discussion.
Yeah.
And I don't fear to have this discussion.
Now, for those of you who are not watching, you're just listening. Sam Harris is naked, and they're licking his body. He's lying on the coffee table, and they're licking his body.
I just want to say, I've always liked the Rubin Report set, because it's like a poly guy's living room. There's a single basketball in a glass cubby.
Yeah.
You picture him, and he's about to pull out a Go set and care for a game of the ancient Oriental.
But I mean, this is so I don't even know. Dave Rubin here is like basically saying that the SJWs are forcing us to have to be ethno-nationalist in this country, I guess. Yep. And if we don't have the conversation, of course, it'll get worse. which
Also, in a weird way, he can't blame them if they do that.
yeah, he can't. I mean, he doesn't have any racism in his heart, but he can't blame them because they have no choice but to become white ethno-nationalists. There's no other choice.
This is like the soft.
Yeah, so of course, this one is just absolutely a no-brainer, and I've already talked about it a couple of times. But obviously speaking, and I think Sam said it there, because SJWs are doing whatever the fuck they're doing, it does not mean that in any way you should turn into being a bigot or, a racist. That doesn't make any sense. There's no rationale for going as a response to SJWs turning into an ethno-nationalist. That line of logic has never made any sense, and it never will make any sense because there is no sense behind it. There's no ounce. There's no sense, not a stardust of sense that comes from the idea that because you're confronted with some SJWs or some lefty ideology that, the only response is ethno-nationalism. That's all you can do, that's it. No, that reveals the truth about you, and it means you're a piece of garbage and you're a bigoted piece of crap. And that's exactly what that means. And so they're dunking on him, obviously, for that. It looks like, pretty much everyone's gone after him for that. That's easily the worst comment that Dave Rubin has made because it's the most disgusting comment that he's made. Normally, I sort of laugh off and just kind of make fun of the stuff Dave Rubin says, whether it's like, Jesus had a bunch of Muslim friends, even though Islam was founded like 600 years after Jesus died. So it's like, okay, let's just take a second to acknowledge how fucking hilariously stupid that comment was. But whether he's saying stuff like that, or he's saying that progressivism is a mental disorder, or the left hates gamers because they get stuff done, which is just, that whole dynamic is so weird. None of the stuff that Dave Rubin says I've ever taken seriously. I just make fun of them because of how stupid they are. But this I actually was blown away by. I was shocked by because of how unbelievably disgusting and horrifyingly bad that tweet was. Or that statement was, sorry, that he did in that interview. It was truly unbelievable how disgusting that was. So anyways, to conclude, I really enjoy that everybody's going after him. I hope Cenk starts unloading on him too, because then it'll just be full-on Rubin bashing, and Rubin is too much of a bitch to even utter the words majority report because he's too scared to debate them or even acknowledge their existence, period, which is single-handedly the most embarrassing thing that I have ever seen. It's between him and Crowder. I don't know which one is worse because I guess, and this is what I've heard, is that it was Crowder's dad, who's his manager, who made the game decision to not debate Sam Cedar. Now, I'm not sure if that's true. That's what I've heard. But it does sound pretty legitimate.